So ClickUp is the everything app for work, and today we are going to find out what that means. Because honestly, I had no clue what that meant, despite seeing many SFO airport billboards. We will cover branding, mental models, onboarding, overcoming status quo, and having a point of view on task management. Okay, the everything app for work. Let's first talk about this positioning. So weirdly, PayPal actually just launched this new ad campaign, and it's PayPal everywhere, very similar to ClickUp. The difference is that people know what PayPal is. They know what that means. I have zero idea what ClickUp is with this generic abstract and literally all-encompassing value prop. So 2 observations from this. First, for the marketing teams. So marketing teams tend to ask existing users to describe their product, and they pull this language into their value prop. And my hunch is this is what happened at ClickUp, is that existing users were like, yo, ClickUp is the app I use for everything at work. And the problem is that these are existing users who know what that means. So new users, by the way, this is the app, so you know what it actually looks like. Max out of this. Great. It's definitely an app for work, but potential users may actually have no clue what the everything app for work is. So my tip for marketers is to go to users that either don't use your app but would consider it, or started using it just a week ago, and get their language to steal and infuse that into the value prop. Okay, the second observation about the value prop is that sometimes we look at successful companies and try to copy them. So big brands use these abstract value props. Why can't ClickUp? The question is, did this big brand use it when they were a tiny startup? Likely not. So the first example, PayPal. So this is the way to send and receive money online. So literal. They could not be more literal. Now they're PayPal everywhere. But this is 2002, and they were the way to send money online. Okay, now I'm going to show you Netflix, so get ready. This is the Wayback Machine. This is 1999. The images aren't loading, but you can see it's chaos. It's just chaos. And this is 2003, much less chaos, but still very tactical, creating a mental model. We are about movies. Here are the 3 steps that get you to a movie, right? And then in 2004, they had the same type of thing with the branding skit. And then finally, now it's into a simple page. So you don't get the ability, permission to do this minimalistic branding until you've actually told people what you're doing. This is over 5 years after they've launched, over 6 years after they've launched, that Netflix can actually do this type of minimalistic branding. And now this is 2008, released, by the way, 2008, 2024, weirdly similar, right? Start now, same thing. So they get that permission after they've told us the mental model. So I'll go back to ClickUp. What I've learned from ClickUp is that, and this is like after logging in and trying to use it, is that it's like a Notion with a to-do list. It's like Asana with document management. It's a SharePoint if SharePoint was built today. So basically it's team project management and a source of truth. And my proposal is that we make it farther faster by being a bit more literal. Okay, so moving on, we are now in the first use. This is the person who's logging in. This person wasn't invited by team members. They are what is called the instigator, the champion of product-led growth. And honestly, we're making it a bit hard for them. So I'm getting dropped into a task list. And basically, good luck, little organizer. You know what to do. And I do know what to do with the task list, right? Love me a task list. But if this is all that ClickUp is, then like, why aren't I just using my normal to-do list? So we need something that helps the user basically get their data in. And most B2B companies have this opportunity, is you got to get data in, right? And so one thing that has worked on Lenny's podcast over a year ago, Lauren Isford, a product leader in charge of onboarding, basically shared that their team was in charge of onboarding and got over 20% activation lift. How do they do it? How do they manage this? She said the biggest feature lift was a guided onboarding wizard. So basically paternalistically walking people through adding data. They ask questions like, what type of project do you want to do? What are the things that you would want in this project? And then that was on the left. On the right, all these things populated to see actually the project coming together. So it's pretty paternalistic. Lauren actually removed tooltips, which are basically these little pop-ups that kind of nudge you to do stuff. Her observation, I'd agree, is that for complex products like ClickUp, you actually have to be a little bit more heavy-handed because it is a complicated thing for people to do. Okay, and so the main takeaway here is help people, make it easier for people to do the thing that they're going to have to do to be successful, which is get their data in. Okay, so the second thing I worry about for ClickUp is bloating. So let's look at the top feature request. It is subfolders. This is a list of requests from power users. They want specific things that would obviously make their lives a lot better. The problem is that these power users are not going to probably drive the scale that ClickUp needs or wants. And yet they are the loudest. And for most products, they tend to be the loudest folks. And many of the feature requests are likely good, but then you come to something like Elizabeth Goss, who basically is very articulate and says, hey, my clients aren't tech savvy. They need a simpler interface, because while I like things like due date checklists and subtests, it's kind of overwhelming to them. And that's a little bit how ClickUp is used. There's somebody who's managing, a program manager who's managing the task list, the type A person, and everybody else is the type of person who's, look, I just have lots to do during the day. Do I really have to log into a new app and update my status type of person? And so they don't like logging into new apps. They don't like logging in their status. And so we do have to make it wildly simple for them. And this is the conundrum. The instigator, the organizer, the person who is managing the projects needs some of these power user type things, but the scale is going to come from other people actually engaging. Whew. And so I would say that there is generally an approach here, and we can go back to the 3B approach. The 3B approach in Irrational Labs is reducing barriers and increasing benefits. And I would say the number one thing we want to reduce is the barrier of logging in. Why? Because if Elizabeth is going to invite her colleagues here, a barrier will be logging in, and if they have to do it multiple times. So you could imagine ClickUp really focusing on this type of barrier. By the way, there's another barrier here, which is I tried to invite people and I never got any of these emails. So I invited 5 people to show folks the end-to-end view, but so it could be that the biggest path to growth is just fixing some bugs. ClickUp. But I'm assuming it's a user error, that it's me, it's not you. The other opportunity is basically really thinking deeply about how you make something like login easier. Hey, I've created usernames and passwords for you. I've created a magic link. I've added all of your tasks in here. Can you confirm them? So really helping simplify the first use process, because as soon as people are in the app, then you can start sending them notifications, right? And you can start engaging them. The second thing is to think about and creatively is about how do you increase the benefit? So what does Elizabeth get to say to people that says, hey, like this is the app for you? And many times it's going to be a little bit different than her benefit. Her benefit is I want to update status. I want to organize things. I want to make sure we deliver projects on time. The other person's benefit may be different. It could be like, I need to access my team docs. I need to see my expense reporting, my team agenda. What is the benefit, the hedonic or daily benefit that would drive someone to log in? And again, it may be different for the instigator than the person who is trying to just manage and get by. So I'm going to end with a quick point of view on task tracking. My general thought here is that to-do lists are good. In general, they have been found to relieve stress. Why? Because you're basically getting something that is on your mind, off your mind. Literally, like you're putting it on to a piece of paper, either digitally or paper. People have been found to sleep better if you get stuff off your mind and onto a to-do list. But there are ways to-do lists that are actually more successful than others. And we all know, because we probably have created the to-do list, is just something like you're writing something down so you can check it off. We know that most to-do lists are also something that aren't as successful or as successful as they could be. And personal to-do lists have theories of change. We say things like, oh, it has to be urgent or important or both. Like that's a theory of change. Or you can only do one thing today, right? That's very important. We're going to write it down, only one thing today. Or put it on your calendar, because if it's not on your calendar, it will never work. And so I think with this type of team task management, I wouldn't forget that we're just people. And it feels like this task management system is just like saying, well, if you just write it down, now people will do it, or it's the right thing to do, or that's how we manage our time. I would say, just like we're talking about the guided onboarding wizard, give me more guidance on how not to waste my time or my team's time. It's not intuitive to people. Just because you need help task tracking doesn't mean you're an expert at how to do or organize your work. And so I think about the time saved, that if these apps, these platforms would actually help us a little bit more, how could they really support us? And these things could be like, help me focus, put it on my calendar, don't have any emails come, help me say no to a deadline if it's too fast, add planning fallacy, so making it longer. Oh, wow, there's a fire drill. I should put the fire drill in there so it doesn't feel as if I'm behind. So what's the theory of getting stuff done for teams, and how do we actually help people be better? Okay, I'm going to end there. This is a long one. If you want, you can put it on your to-do list to contact Irrational Labs and myself, Kristen, at irrationallabs.com.